there, welcome to this very special edition of The Place in the Great Outdoors. I'm Alyssa Kelly. I don't know about you guys, but I need my coffee to be able to function in the morning. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Everybody does their s'mores a different way.
Alyssa.
If you're looking for something new to grill at your next cookout or some nightmare fuel, here's an idea: snake meat.
But we are back on the air and we are ready to get this place on the road going.
Right.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, Alyssa.
Folks.
I got a fish.
Wow.
I felt like that building was gonna come down on us. This is such an odd feeling. Get this from behind me here. Oh, look at her go. All right, Michael, I think you look really good in that hat.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a big bite. Cheers. Instant relief. Hey, Santa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's been a busy night, but we're back down here and ready to relax.
You must be pretty tired.
Oh, golly, it's been a long night.
Looks like my footrest is coming out. Oh, yeah.
right.
Maybe the mic is his favorite?
Hello. All right, now it's my turn to get a new hairdo. Maybe now we can talk better.
It's a challenge, folks.
Yes.
There's one.
Okay.
Oh, gosh,
She's
no,
close.
that's
all
so
right.
hard.
So now that's okay.
To have the
Hey,
tiger
Michael,
here.
what is that?
Is that the eye of the
It's
tiger?
the eye of the tiger. Pro wrestling fans, do I have a treat for you? Joining me here today is Billy Gunn. Billy, thank you so much for having me here. We're in the tunnel underneath the castle, guys. It's pretty eerie down here. To get you on a bull.
That's right. I need to go to that event and try my hand at a little bit of bull riding. Do you think I'd make it the full 8 seconds?
You want me to be honest? I feel
should.
like Noel, Missouri would be a great
idea.
Hallmark movie. And I caught the biggest crappie I've ever seen. I think it was 3 pounds.
You caught one of the biggest crappie most people down here have ever seen.
I will take that. We've done a lot of online shopping that we share together, and we're like, you need to get this, and then we do. On 3, let's go Bears! 1, 2, 3.
April 10th, 1912. 2,240 people set sail aboard the RMS Titanic from Southampton's White Star Dock on her maiden voyage to New York. On April 15th, only 706 of those passengers made it back to shore safely. What many don't know, 67 of those survivors were children. One, a little girl named Louise Kink.
My mother was 4.
Joan Marie Pope Randall is the daughter of Louise, who was rescued from the sinking Titanic with her family, leaving everything behind. The only thing she took with her were the shoes on her feet.
Whoa!
Which are now on display in the children's exhibit at the Titanic Museum attraction in Branson. Seeing the display for the first time, Joan got a little emotional.
Yeah, and it took my breath away. It's no easy thing to design a display case and get a feeling, to be able to transmit a feeling. So it hit me.
Year of the Titanic Children was created to tell the story of the 135 young lives aboard the ship and to share the legacy of those who survived and those who didn't. The shoes are a newer addition to the exhibit loaned by Joan, who lends them to museums all over the world so others can learn the story about her mother and her family.
She wore those shoes after she got to the United States. You see the bottom? Oh my goodness sakes.
Unlike many direct descendants of Titanic survivors, Joan didn't get to hear any stories. That's because her mom developed traumatic amnesia, losing all her memories of being on the ship and anything prior.
She didn't remember anything about coming to the United States, about the Carpathia, about being dragged up in a bag from lifeboat number 2 up to the Carpathia. She didn't remember first meeting her family in Wisconsin, and so she suffered from that.
And her grandparents wouldn't even talk about the Titanic. Anton, her grandfather, lost his 2 siblings, Vincenz and Maria, during the shipwreck. Considering the circumstances, Joan says she understands.
I have a feeling and a good imagination for how awful it was and scary. And I think about it all the time now.
The only memories she has of her family's experience are these shoes.
They were just part of my mom's stuff that she saved. Junk.
And now they're far from it.
Now they're here.
And the blanket Louise was wrapped in while being rescued.
That blanket really makes me smile a lot. I can see my grandma wrapping her in the blanket and holding her.
Joan says she's glad to share these objects that are so special to her with the rest of the world.
I could put them in a plastic bag and put them in a trunk, but what's the use of that? it was a tumultuous time, and I think of the shoes and I think of the hard time. That's what I think about. But I also know the woman who grew into the mom that she was to me.
Louise Kink lived another 80 years after the Titanic sank. The more Joan learns of the ship and her family's history, the more she says she's realizing what her mom went through and beyond.
In my mind, I'm building a biography of my mom, not just when she was 4, but throughout her life, till she was 84.
And these shoes will live on in her memory, educating others for years to come.
Right here was the master bedroom, and then on the other side of that is like the kitchen.
What was once a home,
and then this was my room,
is now a pile of utter devastation.
You can see the window to it in there, right there.
16-year-old Tucker Johnston and his family lost their farmhouse in Marshfield to fire in late June.
There's Lego sets right there. I mean, they're burnt.
For Tucker, material belongings aren't the only things that went up in flames.
A house is a place, but all the stuff you have in there, I mean, that's memories and things like that that you're never going to get back.
Less than a month after the fire, Tucker qualified to auction off his cured ham at the Ozark Empire Fair's Gold Buckle Gala as the reserve champion. As a member of the FFA, this was a first for him, and given recent events, he was hoping to get a good price.
I was getting up there and, I was like, well, the other hams they've brought around, $5,000, $7,000.
Tucker's wish was granted. His ham sold for $7,000, but when he tried to exit the auction ring, something strange happened.
And the auctioneer is like, wait, Tucker, why don't you just wait a second? And he handed me the microphone, and he was like, what happened over the past month or so?
After telling the crowd what happened with Tucker's home, the ham was sold again, and again, and again. And then
it resold 7 or 6 more times. It was one of those awe moments that you don't know how to describe it with words.
The leaders of the Ozark Empire Fair Foundation tell me they had a plan to buy Tucker's ham for $5,000 and then resell it to raise money to help. But someone else beat them to it.
We were going to do this, but the amazing thing is there were 7 or 8 others that had no clue, and they just jumped in and wanted to participate too, and it just made it snowball.
The bidders who threw a wrench in that plan were Phil and Kendra Rauch, the owners of Sandcrest. They were the first to buy the ham and the first to throw it back.
We didn't need the ham. And that way it could raise more money.
They even bought it a second time and sold it again.
He's obviously a hard worker. Anybody who works out hard at something deserves some help.
In total, Tucker's ham sold for $60,000, with more than 15 businesses pitching in to help.
I couldn't keep up. I was just in shock. I could not believe that it just kept going. We've had items sell more than once before, but never like this. It just kept going, and I was like, are we still going?
While talking with Tucker about this incredible experience, there was one word he kept saying over and over: grateful.
There's no words to describe how grateful I am for that. It was just amazing to see all the kindness that people still have in our world today.
It's just one example of how far the community will go to support each other, and the one Tucker will remember forever.
I've never experienced something like that in my life. I doubt I ever will again. It's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of moment.
It may not replace the memories lost in fire, but now Tucker has a new one involving the kindness of friends and complete strangers at the 2024 Gold Buckle Gala.
Those memories mean a lifetime to me, but that memory is something that I'll always remember as well. I mean, that's something I'm never going to forget.
Oh, sugars, yes.
It started with 4.
And then we added 1, and then we added 2.
Until it became the little family you see today.
It's a mini ranch.
About 6 years ago, Sheila McMillan and her husband visited a loved one in a nursing home when she saw something that just didn't sit right with her.
Some of the people in the nursing home that haven't had those visits from family or anyone from their church or community.
Sheila decided this was unacceptable, and in 2017, she created Redemption Ranch Therapy Horses. Now, you can't bring a full-grown horse into a nursing home very easily, so she started rescuing miniatures.
There's dogs bigger than my horses.
As a rescue, many of these horses come from a background of sorrow and tragedy, like Delilah.
She was very malnourished. She was not handled at all according to the way she acted, and didn't really understand what a halter was.
A life of abuse, starvation, and neglect.
Some of them we had to teach them how to eat grass. Some of them had only had, grain. Almost all of them we had to teach them how to take a treat.
To a life of love, happiness, and a full belly.
They're all healthier, and they've all been loved.
The ranch is also a ministry, so each Minnie's name is from scripture.
Coda, Job, because he has the patience of Job. Jericho, Delilah, Paige.
Though Sheila rescued these mini horses, she says they're the ones that saved her.
It was therapy for me. I have a spinal cord injury, and I did not do well for 5 years. They became my therapy. I would probably not be here if I didn't have these horses. Hi. Hi, Hank.
She says they each have a gift. It's the gift of therapy that gives them the ability to help others.
I don't know how they do it. There's got to be some nonverbal communication.
An example of this special gift is when Sheila took the minis to one of the local schools.
There was a little autistic boy who came up, and he wouldn't talk, but I asked him if he wanted to kiss Coda. I said, you can, it's perfectly fine. You can kiss him on the forehead or you can kiss him on his nose. And he just couldn't bring himself to do it. He'd always get closer, and he'd pet him, and then he started brushing him. And then just before we left, he came up, and without even knowing, his teacher caught the picture of him going in for a kiss on the forehead. That's my favorite picture of my horses ever, because of what it took for that little boy to trust and open up and kiss on that horse.
These horses continue to spread their therapy gift to others in the community, and now the folks alone in nursing homes have little visitors come to see them.
You can just see the joy. We'll continue doing what we're doing until the Lord tells us to do something else. I love you.
Stella Craig loves to giggle, dance to a Taylor Swift song, and play just like any other child her age. The difference is, since birth, she's had more trials and tribulations than any 8-year-old should have to endure.
At 6 weeks, we noticed that there was definitely something wrong. She had an 8.5-minute seizure. That's when we got her genetic diagnosis of SCN8A.
SCN8A, also known as the cute syndrome, is a severe epilepsy disorder caused by a spontaneous genetic mutation and is extremely rare. According to the National Institutes of Health, there are less than 1,000 identified cases worldwide. As of right now, there is no cure or approved treatment for the disease itself.
You just manage as best as you can with medications.
Despite the nickname, this diagnosis is anything but cute. Stella has little movement in her arms and legs, she's nonverbal, and is unable to control her head.
So many medications, so many therapies, so many doctor's offices.
And oftentimes, it can be life-threatening.
She has been airlifted to St. Louis Children's on like 5 occasions, more ambulance rides than I can count. I would assume we're at least up to close to 100 at this point.
Because of this, Stella needs round-the-clock care. The family even needs a night nurse, so Casey and her husband can get some sleep.
She could have a seizure in the middle of the night and not survive it.
Despite all the challenges life has thrown her way, Stella never loses her spirit.
She is the most joyful, the sweetest, and the bravest little girl I've ever known.
As you can imagine, the medical bills and other costs to help Stella over the years have not been cheap, to say the least.
We do have some things that are, paid for by insurance and gives us a little extra help with medications and therapies, doctor's office, and things like that.
There's one thing the Craig family needs desperately that insurance won't cover: a new van that's wheelchair accessible.
We took a family vacation 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, and we had to do 2 vehicles to just house all of Stella's stuff.
Stella's stuff is not just your typical clothes and toiletries.
Oxygen, suction, nebulizers, BiPAP machines, wheelchairs.
Not only is space an issue, Stella's medical needs have to be attended to every few hours, which is nearly impossible to do in their current vehicle.
I have to literally hold her 50 pounds, put myself in, lay her down, close the back hatch so then that way she has privacy while we change her, and then have someone open it from the back because I can't open it from in here, and then lift her up, which is not the best for my back, and then lift her back up out of here.
The van they're looking to buy costs $86,000. It's wheelchair accessible and even has a back bench that lays down, allowing the family all the room they need for themselves and the space to take care of Stella safely while on the road together.
We don't know how long we're going to have her, and we want to make sure that we can give her those life experiences and not be homebound.
In the last 2 years, the Craig family has raised over half the amount needed thanks to donations, community fundraisers, and grants.
We wouldn't be here without them.
One of Casey's close friends and well-known reporter in St. Louis, Paige Halsey, recently wrote a book called A Bad Day Fishing. Knowing Stella has had some bad days herself, Paige sent her a copy and is donating a portion of the book sales towards helping the Craig family buy the van.
They do have some tough days, but when Stella giggles or they have a sweet moment or she smiles, I know that just fills Casey's heart. And as a friend, it makes me so happy too. And so I think that this van is going to help them have more moments like that.
Casey says she's beyond grateful for Paige and really relates to her story.
I kind of see that as my husband and I, when you set on this parent journey, you don't expect all these things to pop up. You just expect to live the life that you see everyone else living. You can either let it affect you and essentially paralyze you, or you can keep going.
With about $25,000 left to go, the Craigs believe they'll soon reach their goal, especially with the support of a community like theirs, which for Casey means more than any dollar amount ever could.
Often in this life you don't feel seen, or if you are seen, it's not for the right reasons. To have these people be behind us just makes us feel seen.
People who have so much love for this sweet little girl who has a lot of life left to live.